you're good looking. Oh my God, you are. Look at that whole head of hair. His what? So? She's good looking too. I didn't say I want to go home with you. So I am humbled, I am honored, I am so excited to be here. I've worked with Alcon before, never in Canada. My children think they're Canadian. I tell them they are. I love, love, love coming to Canada. This is like the smartest thing that ever happened in the world, and people are beautiful. I land in the airport, I don't see KFC, I see chicken kebabs. And you all are not uptight like we are about everything. I couldn't get in my room, and I'd been, stranded in the airports all last night, so I was tired. And so she's trying to get me in the room. And then I come back, and I'm like, the key doesn't work. She's like, I'm going to go up with you, and I'm taking the master key. You're going to get to be the master of the key. I'm like, do you not understand? That's not a good word for me. Y'all don't care, do you? She's like, no, you'll get to be the master. I said, look, I'm from the land of the free, home of the brave. I don't need any more illusions. Stop playing. So I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be with you. I absolutely love who you are and what you do. Dr. Goodhue cracks me up. He comes up and he goes, Dr. Goodhue. I said, what a perfect name for you. I think it would have been better if it was Dr. Goodview. I was like, are you kidding me? No, like the hue is the beginning of everything. He goes, I never thought of it. I said, stop playing. He was like, no, I really didn't. Now I'm thinking of it. I'm so excited. So listen, let me, this is, it is everything to do with eyeballs. It's everything to do with who you are and what you do, and why I love you and your excellence and your purpose. I have a very good friend who's an ENT, and she says, in med school, what we learn about the eye is how to call you all. That's it. She's like, this is too hard. It's not going to happen. So I have a great deal of respect. I hope to convey the why. Before I get into all of that, I always like to start whatever I do by offering a meditation. I meditate publicly in the form of music because music is the most parsimonious language. Parsimony, of course, meaning that it says the most in the least amount of space. The only other language that does it better is Ebonics, because it be that way sometime. I love smart people. I've been singing this song for 10 years. It talks about, in order to change the world, you have to change yourself. The difficulty with that, especially this room of folks, you take yourselves for granted. You don't think about all of the things you do. You are literally the most brilliant people on the planet, and you don't think anything of it. It's just what I do, is how I do it. It's what I do. It's what I do. I travel a lot. I get on a plane, I get off. I didn't think anything of traveling until a couple years ago I was on a plane and the engine was struck by lightning. That makes you grateful. The pilot did a brilliant job of calming everybody down. He said, don't worry, look out the window, you see all those ambulances there for you. And it happened to be the time of year, I do a fast every year. I fast 40 days, 40 nights. I don't eat anything. I drink water, juice. It's grueling. I don't recommend it. I usually cheat on the 29th day. I don't call it cheating, I call it communion. And last year I knew I was wrong because I was in the kitchen going, Jesus, your body needs butter. See, this is why I love Canada. You can laugh. The United States is filled with those people who are so spiritually minded, they're no earthly good. You know the people. How you doing today? I'm blessed and highly favored. Well, share it with your face. I was telling this story to one of my friends. She's like, I can't believe you're making fun of the Holy Communion. I said, you've never fasted, have you? Because if you had, you know on the 5th day you see Jesus and he's holding a biscuit. So it's on my fast, and the plane's going down. So on the 32nd day of the fast, you would think at this heightened spiritual, mental, emotional state, I'd call everyone together to pray. At the very least, we collectively hum. 32 days of fasting, my first thought was not, let us pray. I'm thinking, I should have ate. Life goes by quickly. It's not short. It's actually long, but it can go by quickly when we fail to recognize who we are. I'll be 60 this year. Okay, actually, I'll be 55, but I find that if you put your age up, you get a few more compliments. If you fail to see who you are and to recognize the power that you have and to share it and to kind of bring it forth, it makes things kind of just go by in a blur. But when we stop and recognize, I think we truly have power to change the world. How can we have peace in the Middle East if there's none at home? How can we have understanding in the land if there is none for the woman and there is none for the man? Well, there's too much talk about it and too many walk without it. Tell me, where is the love? Where is this God in your life? To my left, a woman abuses her children. To my right, somebody's beating their wife. Tell me, where is love? Where is the God in your life? How can we heal the wounds of the world if we cannot heal our own? Where does this peace on earth begin, if not in your home? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so clearly this is going to be a little different than the glaucoma session. Every life has a filter. It's like the filter on the dryer. There's a note in front that says clean before each use. My mother did all the laundry, and laundry skips a generation. I love you. If you don't clean that filter, it becomes the window through which you see the world. And we all get things caught in our filter. My ex-husband got caught in my filter. I got married and annulled in the same year, and I had to write a country song. It's called If I Shot You When I Met You, I'd Be Out of Jail by Now. You said, let's hear it? It's been a hard time. You didn't think I had a song, did you? It's been a rough road. I sit and wonder how I'm going to carry the load. And that's when it hit me. If I shot you when I met you, a boom, 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 I'd be out of jail by now. If I shot you when I met you, a boom, 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 I'd be out of jail by now. If I'd have seen you coming, I'd have got my 22. If I shot you when I met you, a boom, 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 there'd be no time left to your lay-ho to do. That's, okay. Don't ever tell anybody I was up here yodeling. I actually took a class on yodeling. This is another story. I can't believe you sing it. Thank you. Because I wouldn't have done that. And then y'all started clapping. My people. I'm Canadian. No, seriously, I have 5 adopted children. Oh, no, don't clap unless you want them. I was praying for love. My mother called and said my sister's 3 children were in danger of going into foster care. They'd all been born crack addicted. I was going to have to take them. I hung up and called a friend, said, I was praying for love. I'm getting children. What happened? She said, with God, you need to be more specific. So I prayed again. a man. And that's how I got the country song. So, you know, if you do a good job with something, people don't take responsibility away, they give you more. That's how I ended up with 5 children. People just started dropping them off. My youngest son is diagnosed as autistic. We found out he's just odd. He didn't speak until right after we saw The Lion King. And now he talks like James Earl Jones. I'm not kidding, he's like, cereal, mother. He chases a ceiling fan and I let him, because that way I know where he is. One day he was chasing the ceiling fan and he stopped. He said, Mother, do you think at this time, this place, this moment, there's another planet where people were doing what we're doing at this time, this place, this moment? I said, oh my God, he's contemplating a parallel universe and chasing the ceiling fan. He's gonna take Dr. Goodhue's job. So, I really believe in the purpose of what you all do. And I don't know if I'm crazy or if I'm, looking at it from across the room and see this thing as so beautiful and powerful. Your purpose is not your job, it is your calling. And before I get into why your purpose is so important to me, let me just explain what I mean about purpose. This brilliant psychologist named Naim Akbar says you have to ask yourself on a daily basis, why me here now? It's a philosophical question. Don't get caught up in the philosophy. I took philosophy as a foreign language requirement. I love smart people. Went in the classroom, the professor is holding up the textbook. He goes, is this book real? Is it really real? How do we know that it's real? I said, excuse me, I know it's real because I paid $59.95 for it. He said, very good, let's go with that feeling. What evidence do we have that you actually bought the book? I said, you trying to say I stole it? I took the book and I threw it at him. Looked at him and said, did you feel that? How do I know that you felt that? Come on, let's go with this feeling. If finding your place to serve is your purpose, you can't just ask about it. You have to actually get up and do something about it. And I really today want to send out a call to action to you. I was 50 years old. I go in the doctor's office and I say, I can't see what's going on. He says, I know exactly what's going on. This is 40-eye. I said, but I'm 50. He said, then you've been in denial for 10 years. And it's a thing. You all are like, yeah, 40-eye. Mm-hmm. And so now all of my friends who are in their 30s, I say, you're going to get 40-eye. And they go, what? Like, it's a thing, and you know it. You know this. There are so many things that I get excited about what you do. My daughter was really, really sick, and I was in ICU with her for a two-week period. And then when we finally got out, somehow, I don't know what caused this, where it came from, get this corneal abrasion. So I go to my doc, I'm driving, and it's like the most painful thing I've ever experienced. You're like, yep, sure is. And I go in and I say to him, this is the most painful thing. Now my doc is like, you all. He's like, yeah, how you doing? How's the eyes going? Yeah, Until I come in and I go, man, this thing is the most painful thing. If it weren't so painful, I'd go back to school and study it. He stopped and was like, yeah. I was like, what happened? He was like, yeah, so let me tell you, in this little space, it's the smallest space with the most nerve endings, and they're going right through this eye, and they cover, and then they go through the rest. I'm like, whoa, where'd you come from? He's like, it is exciting, isn't it? I was like, and painful. But it was exciting, and he was excited that I understood the excitement. And he said, well, every one of those, I said, why don't you tell people? Hey, why is it that I just come here once a year? And by the way, you need to know that my grandmother was blind. My mother was losing her sight at 85. And so we go to the doc's office, and then I'm like, Mom, well, and he's, any history of this, Miss Berry? Yes. I said, well, my grandma was blind, but she was born blind, wasn't she, Mom? She's like, no, she had glaucoma. When were you going to tell us? We kind of need to get that checked. So now all of a sudden, and trust me, my mother at 85, she's not going to get lens implants. She's not going to do it. She says, it's too much money and I don't want to be a burden. I convinced her I'd use the lenses. No, Mom, when you die, we'll take them out. I'll use them. Don't worry about it. But to me, this quality of life, my mom's a birder. She loves to see the birds. She watches them. She's got her books. She's listening to the sounds. It's important to her. She read everything I could. But let me tell you the real deal. My mother, during this 2 years that she got her sight back, wrote the journal of her life. And when she died, I found her stories that I didn't know. I would not have had that had she not had her sight. More importantly, she never wanted to be taken care of. She lived with me the last 17 years of her life. She said, it's a good day as long as you can take care of yourself. She didn't say it that pretty. But for her, that's a good thing. That nobody's got to bathe her, nobody's got to dress her, nobody's got to take care of her. So when I go in and I say this is the most painful thing I've ever experienced. Oh my God, what am I going to do? He's like, yeah, we're going to deal with it. Yeah. And then I start to find out what you all know. Looking at an eyeball. I'm looking through your thing. It's an eyeball. It's just an eyeball. There's no just with an eyeball. Everything starts right here. So now I'm kind of like the eye woman. I march around to people, and this is not even popular, especially in the U.S. to say, you know, skip that mammogram. Get your eyes checked. Even you are like, what? See, the mammogram people have done a really good job selling those. But you can tell me more. You can tell me about my cholesterol. Who knew? Yeah, well, yeah, we can, yeah. And this thing was going on. I called my childhood friend. She's an ultimate gerontologist. Why am I calling her about the eye? I call her about everything. She goes, girl, you know, I could tell you about some of everything, but when it comes to that eyeball, all I know how to do is a call one. I can't do it. She said, when it comes to the eye, we just go, yeah, it's too much. You all know that too much. And I promise you, purpose has to look this passionate. Listen, I love a geek. I love a nerd. Thank you. It is the most beautiful thing to me for people to think, but you can't just think amongst yourselves. You got to let the world know about this. Why did I wait until 50 to know? I'd never worn glasses. Everybody in my house has glasses. I'm walking around, I'm 20/20. It's like when you were 20. Why don't I know that's good? Why didn't I know? And I promise you, I'm not selling Systane except amongst my friends. My friends will know. You want some Systane? All they have to do is say, I don't feel good. Want some Systane? I promise you, I tell people that Systane is crack for the eye. Because again, it was after the abrasion, I start feeling this thing again, and I'm like, oh. And it was right before the very first time I'm coming to Alcon. So I say to my daughter, go in there and get me some eye drops, but make sure they say Alcon. Because I don't want to show up with somebody else's product. This thing, I put it on my eye, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know my eyes should feel this good. Oh my God. So when I get up in the morning, there's two things that happen. I make my bed immediately, because that's a prayer of gratitude. I'm thankful to have a bed. And then I drop that in my eyes, and I go, why don't I know that I can be better seeing? And why don't we know this? Because you all are so humble. You're more humble than a dentist. You're so humble. We don't want our patients to have to pay for too much. Let me explain something to you. The eyelash industry has become a $3 billion industry. Oprah Winfrey put a mink false eyelash on her eye, and everybody has gone out and glued all kinds of stuff, and this is the thing, and then they come to you. I can't open my eye, they glue shut. $3 billion for the lash to protect the eye. Don't wait until you become the teeth whitening of the industry. Because teeth whitening, you know, dentists won't whiten a tooth with a cavity, but you can get it done at the mall. And so they kind of came along, started, you know, we'll offer whitening to get people in here. First time I went to the Virgin Islands, I used to teach in the Virgin Islands, and I learned many, many things. I learned how beautiful I was. Well, because they'd say things like, look at you, bright, smiling, clear-eyed ting. What? What's this with the clear? Yeah, your eye clear them. Look at your eye clear. You could tell you don't run around. What? There's a whole language about the beauty of a person's eye. And I now live in the South. It was like we were having this call, and then like literally the next day, this guy says to me, I want to introduce you to a group of good folks. We call them the clear-eyed people. I'm like, what? Oh, no, you know what a clear-eyed person is? It's a person that sees clearly, they live life right, and they just balance. They're clear-eyed people. There's a whole language around what you do. The eyes being the window to the soul. It's not made up, it's true. And yet you all have all of this knowledge, and because you're so humble about it, because you're nerds, I'm a nerd. Trust me, I taught statistics. Come on. There was one study, they spent $1 million and found that when people were happy on their jobs, they were most productive. I was sharing these findings with my mom. She was like, I bet if they split that $1 million with the people they studying, they'd be real productive. How do you have all of this and not let us know? I feel that I mean, and you do a great job when somebody gets there. But what about before we get there? You can help me live better. I promise you that there's so much with this. I had a head injury a couple of years ago. I think it was a couple of years ago. You're the only audience to ever get that. I go to this specialist and I was like, you're gonna have to do something. I was doing things like I was trying to pour milk in my tea and I was pouring it in my purse. I knew it was wrong, I couldn't stop myself. It was like, something's wrong and I can't fix it. And the doctor goes, yes, I'm a specialist and we're working on this. I said, well, fix it. We don't like to use words like fix. I said, well, make up a word and apply that. He says, no, your brain is like a computer. It's got to reboot. It's going to reboot. Usually takes a year. In your case, it's going to take a couple of years. It's going to be painful. You'll get through it. It'll reboot. So I crossed my eyes and I started doing this. He said, are you okay? I said, yep, absolutely. He said, what are you doing? I said, deleting old files. Oh, there's you. There are some old files that you have about the way you do what you do because you don't want to charge people too much. You want to cost them too much. Yeah, my kids were like in and out all the time because they really needed an eye doc. But it wasn't just about what they were seeing, it was about the way they learned. And it affected everything, trust me. It affected everything. And there's so much that can happen from here. From here. I know you're sitting over there and you see this big spot in my eye. No one would notice it but this room. You getting that checked? First time I was with Alcon, I was in the car on my way to the event, and I said, oh, I got to grab my sunglasses. I really, really need them. She laughed. Yeah. You know, at Alcon, we say as long as people don't wear sunglasses, we'll always be in business. I said, what? How come y'all don't tell people? Oh, because you'll always be in business. That's beautiful, but we need to know. There's a whole thing around. If I'm spending $3 billion on the lash to look cute, I promise you it would be much better to be clear-eyed and ting. So how do you do this? How do you go about making this happen? I want to share some of these ingredients because I think life happens in ingredients. Had this amazing woman in my life who was in purpose. She was my teacher, and she did this amazing thing for me. She graded my homework. Right, it's her job, right? But I had balled it up and threw it at her. Grew up in a single-headed household, cycles of poverty, abuse, alcoholism, and go figure, I had an attitude. Bigger the insecurity, the bigger the attitude. She grades it, gives it back. I'm like, what's that? She said A- would have been A+, but you balled it up and threw it at me. Even though it's her job, she does it, and she does it with passion and caring. It makes a difference. She moved me from my classes where I was like the dunce to the AP classes. She says, there's more going on here. She gets me on track to go to college my junior year. Takes me to my counselor whose job it is to help me get into college. He says, we don't have time to waste on this kid. She's got a bad attitude, bad grades from a bad family. We don't have time. He said it in front of me. But because she was in purpose, when you're in purpose, you become passionate about what you do, and nothing stops you. When you're in purpose, you don't look at the circumstances around you, you look at the possibilities. She took me to a counselor at a completely different school, who not only helped me with the applications I filled out, but she filled out one to a school I'd never heard of and sent it off. It's the only school that accepted me. They called and said, we decided to accept you. You don't have enough money to go here. How do you think you can pay? I'm thinking, I didn't apply. But I didn't say that because I was not the polished woman you see before you today. I said, y'all want me at that school, you better find me some money. Fortunately, I'm talking to somebody who's in purpose. She takes the application over to the financial aid director, says, look, we got a kid here with the lowest SAT score we've ever accepted. She didn't become a real student till the end of her junior year. She took the ACT. It's off the charts because she can write. She deserves to be here. More importantly, we can learn from kids like this. Financial aid director starts laughing. She said, it's not funny. She said, it is. This morning, I got a call from a millionaire benefactor who only wanted to support a kid like that. And until now, we didn't have anybody. This is why I believe that when you walk with purpose, you collide with destiny. You don't know when that destiny moment is, so you have to keep your eyes open. I go to college, I graduate with honors, and when the President's Cup for Leadership, I called my family and said, I'm going to graduate school. They said, we thought you already graduated. I didn't know 9 hours was a full load at the master's level, so I took 18. Finished my master's in 2 semesters, maintained a 4.0, and got my PhD at 26. Had I known then what I know now, I'd have done it several times over. I'd have got the degree you got. Because it is the coolest nerd degree on the planet. Everything in the body starts right there. Will I go left? Will I go right? Look at my eye. See, you're laughing because you know. Yeah, I can tell what direction you're going to go. How is this brilliant, beautiful stuff? It's about your purpose. Your purpose is to make my life better. When my mom's life got freed up because she could see again, and trust me, I mean, we were leaving home. She's like, look at that. I can see the cracks in the sidewalks. It was this beautiful, amazing thing that not only gave her her sight, it gave her back herself. Because when she began to write and tell the stories that no one knew, why she had been the way she was, it restored our family as well. Now, eye care is at the top of our list, I promise you. I'll go into my primary and she's like, well, you haven't had a mammogram yet, but look at that eyes. I've been in there 3 times. I bet you I could tell you what the labs say because I know from my eyes. You know this. Make sure the world does. You've got to tell your stories, but you have to tell them your way. Don't let somebody else from some marketing something with something that you can drop in your eyes and get the glue out beat you to making sure we have the clear eye and thing. You've got to lead the way. You've got to tell the story. You have to own the market. You have to do it. And I think there's 3 ways to do it. There's a third eye, and they, literally eyes. You need the information. Nobody's got more information than you do. Nobody's got more information, devices, tools, equipment. Nobody has more than you do. You need innovation. I love Alcon because it's a company that's based in research and they've got innovation. But you need inspiration, and that's going to come from inspiring one another. It's that South African thing of Ubuntu, that I am because we are. Unless you're married to somebody who does what you do, unless you live with somebody who does what you do, unless you're second generation, you don't have anybody else to talk to. Oh yeah, you do glasses. No, I know everything that's going on in your foot. So you need to stay connected, and I call it quilt working. Networking says find out who's important, get to know what they know, and take over. Quilt working says every piece is connected to the whole. I am because we are. And the more you experience, the more you evolve. Oh, I love country music. And one day I was listening to country music, a guy called to ask me out. He was like, oh, I was going to ask you out, but you like country music. I was like, well, yeah, what's that got to do with anything? He goes, but you're black. I said, what do you turn on country music and turn white? What are you talking about? He says, okay, who are you listening to? I said, it's a really good track by Katie Lang. He said, wait, isn't she a lesbian? I said, and a Canadian. He said, are you a lesbian? I said, are you the alternative? My mother said, you can be dumb by yourself. There's no need to join up with stupid. We have to join up with like-minded people who can help get the message out, who can share this story. You have to connect. You have to stay connected. And I want you to laugh more. People don't know you have this wicked, wonderful sense of humor. You're one of the best laughing audiences I've seen. You laugh at little innuendos that nobody else would get. Clever. You have to laugh more. Laughter is a gift to those who do the work, because you can't get the punchline if you're not there for the setup. See, nobody laughs at that. I used to co-own an art gallery. We use all the money in the gallery to help families in need, and I know it sounds like a really noble thing. We got tired of them living with us. Again, that's a line for me. Nobody gets that. Whenever a family comes in and they get moved into a house, we ask them to come back when another family is getting moved into a house so they can help complete this cycle of gratitude and help that family. So one of these families had come back, and the mother walked in and her teeth were sticking way out. We're like, whoa, what happened? She said, I don't know. I woke up this morning and something not right. I'm like, it sure isn't. She said, help me, something not right. It took us an hour to figure out that she'd accidentally put on her husband's dentures. See, we laugh just like you did, right? But everybody doesn't get the joke. And I have two sets of friends. I have people who come, clean, paint, give up their own furniture, and people who come after all the work's done for the party afterwards. Both are necessary, but don't confuse the two. So I call one of those friends. I'm telling her a story. I'm like, her teeth are sticking out. Something not right. It's my husband's dentures. I'm like, ah! She's silent. I'm like, isn't it funny? She's like, I can't believe you're laughing at the people you claim you're supposed to be helping. I hung up and laughed at her. Not only did I laugh, I now use it. Whenever things are off in our office, we look at each other and go, something not right. Every one of you has a something not right story. You have that story. I thought it was my eye drops, but it was my hot sauce. You got that story. You have to stay connected through these stories. Share them with one another, and then share them outside of there. Because I promise you, what you know is blinding us. Because it's not getting to us. And it's got to, and I want you to lead the way. I want you to lead the way so much because I love who you are and what you do. I promise you, my grandmother belonged to the Blind Black People's Association of Delaware. And I was like, Grandma, why you gotta be blind? Why you gotta be black? You're already blind. I mean, do you know what race the other people are? I mean, trust me, when you grow up in a household of a disability association, you learn to laugh at everything. Her boyfriend had artificial legs, 2 artificial legs. He was double amputee, and he'd fall and she'd try to find him. Anyway. I grew up practicing how to see without seeing. My mother would teach us how to go in a room in the dark. Now here she's preparing me for darkness, but not telling me that I can be prepared. So now as I'm watching my cousins who are going through the same thing that my grandmother and their mother went through, I don't have to. And even though I try to explain to all of my relatives, hey, you got to do this, they don't listen because they don't really know. But you got to make this sexy. You got to get passionate about it because you're the only ones who really, really know. All I've had is an abrasion, and I got excited. Because I was like, I can't believe my eye. I can't walk. I can't lift my hand. I can't do nothing because of this eye. It was unbelievable. But you already know this. Let the rest of us know and do whatever you can. I know working with these cool folks, and I came in through Alcon talking and hanging out with somebody and saying, hey man, we got to get people to know this. That's how it came about. I met a surgeon somewhere, and she was going to Africa, and she said, do you understand that when I help one person over there, a whole village is set free? Because that whole village is around caring for that person. So I was talking about this, and I got excited about it, and I want somebody to know. Alcon is cool because they care about you. They care about your patients. We got to stop saying, I don't want to tell them about this because it might cost too much. There is nothing worse than barely able to see. Take away my sight, but don't give me just a little bit of it. Don't give me the pain that I had before because I don't know what's going on, and we can avoid these things. Don't wait till I'm 50 to tell me about 40 eye. Oh, I know you got 6 kids and cousins and you're paying for all those glasses. I didn't want to be a burden. Be a burden. Let them go blind. I got to hold it together. I hope this is making some sense. I got to go because I really want to sleep. But I would love to hang out with you all forever. I promise you. This is, to me, I've been waiting for this. I get to do 200 lectures a year with all kinds of groups and all kinds of things. I'm about to do a new TV show. Just all kinds of things are going on in my life. And I've been excited about this. My daughter's like, where are you going, Mom? I'm going to the eye people in your country. I want to leave you with the legacy that my mom left me to give you. On the day she died, she said, I've been laying here this long trying to figure out what to give you. And now I know. And I was like, oh, Mom, you're not going anywhere. You know, she had a brain tumor, 5 heart attacks, 6 strokes, all in a 2-year period. She 2 seconds later be like, I'm still here. So I'm thinking she's not going anywhere. She's like, no, I'm tired. It's time for me now. I got to go. Make sure you use these lenses. I will, Mom. She said, I know what to give you. I said, Mom, you don't have to give me anything. Stop it. You gave me life. You gave me humor. You don't have to give me anything. She said, oh, no, you want this. And when you go out, I want you to share it. I'm like, what is she talking about? She says, well, you know I don't have any money. I lived with you the last 17 years of my life. I don't have any money. And all the good jewelry I have you gave me, I don't think it'd be right to give that back. I was like, oh, yes, it would. I'm going to make a necklace with them eyeballs and the jewelry. She said, I know what to give you, and when you go speak to those who do more for others than they do for themselves, I want you to share this with them. It's like morphine drips working. She said, I'm going to take all of the generational baggage, the hurt, the shame, the stuff that happened to me, my mother, her mother, and her mother before her. I'm going to pack it up and take it with me to the other side. I'm leaving you a clean slate. And when you go talk to those who do more for everybody than they do for themselves, you tell them that me and the ancestors are giving them a clean slate. The work that you do not only gave me that clean slate, it gave me my mother's life back. Growing up, my mom was a terrible alcoholic. She was abusive. She was angry most of the time. And I didn't really know who she was. She transformed and became this beautiful woman, but there were still pieces missing. Those 2 years of getting her sight back, she was able to write her story and tell me what had happened to cause those things to be that way. She was the very definition of transformation. But it was even better to get an understanding, to get a clear picture, to see her with clear eyes. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you.